Move on. An all-parliamentary delegation from India met HEMR Takeshi Iwaya, Foreign Minister of Japan, today. India's national consensus and resolute commitment to combat terrorism in all forms was reaffirmed. The Japanese Foreign Minister reiterated Japan's support to India's fight against terrorism and expressed appreciation for the restraint shown by the Indian side. He called for punishing the perpetrators of terror activities. BJP MP Amapajita Sangarani hailed the outreach as a strong message to the world, while the CPIM's John Brittus highlighted the bipartisan nature of the delegation as a symbol of India's national unity against terrorism. In addition to this, another all-party delegation led by BJP's Shrikant Shande recently met United Arab Emirates officials in Abu Dhabi to discuss the matter of terrorism. The fruitful meeting with UAE Minister Sheikh Nuban bin Murak Al Nahyan reaffirmed India's stance to combat terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. With all the party delegations headed out, India remains resolute in its stance that it no longer tolerates terrorism from its neighbour Pakistan. In a related development, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi today confirmed that Pakistan will no longer receive water from rivers over which India holds rights. This follows India's suspension of the 1960 Indus Water Treaty after a deadly attack in Pahalgam on April the 22nd, which killed 26 civilians. The treaty, brokered by the World Bank, has been a cornerstone of water sharing between the two countries, but India's decision to suspend it is part of a broader punitive measure against Pakistan following the attack. This move marks a significant escalation in tensions between the two nations. In another development, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar accused Pakistan's leadership, particularly Army Chief General Asim Munir, of being driven by an extreme religious outlook following the deadly terror attack in Kashmir. Speaking to Dutch broadcasters NOS, Jaishankar described the attack, which killed 26 civilians, mostly tourists, as a Pakistan-backed operation targeting victims based on their Hindu faith. Jaishankar confirmed that Indian forces successfully thwarted subsequent Pakistani missile and drone attacks, retaliating by targeting military and air bases in Pakistan. On May the 10th, Pakistan's DGMO called for a ceasefire, leading to a truce between the two nations. The minister clarified the ceasefire was a direct negotiation between India and Pakistan, with no involvement from the United States or back-channel discussions. Jaishankar emphasized that while military action has paused, India's commitment to responding to terrorism remains firm. Let's listen in to what the Indian Foreign Minister said in the Netherlands.
The cessation of firing and military action was something which was negotiated directly between India and Pakistan. We made one thing very clear to everybody who spoke to us, not just United States, but to everybody, saying, look, if the Pakistanis want to stop firing, they need to tell us. We need to hear it from them. Their general has to call up our general and say this. And that is what happened.
We now move back to the Middle East, where Israel says 100 UN and international aid trucks entered Gaza via the Karam Shalom crossing point, according to SOGAT, the Defense Ministry unit overseeing Palestinian civil affairs. All aid was inspected before the entry. However, the United Nations reported that aid supplies remain undistributed due to procedural barriers imposed by Israeli authorities. This comes as Netanyahu said it was necessary to avoid a humanitarian crisis in order to preserve Israel's freedom of operational action in Gaza. He also stated that all of the Gaza Strip will be under the Israeli army's control by the end of its ongoing intensified offensive in the Palestinian territory. Moreover, the Israeli Prime Minister said that he was ready for a temporary ceasefire to secure the return of hostages held in Gaza, adding 20 of them were certainly alive and up to 38 were deceased. In another related development, more than a dozen countries have condemned Israel after its forces fired near a convoy of foreign diplomats visiting Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. In the latest, China has urged all parties, especially Israelis, not to take any escalatory moves.
中方高度关注相关事件，坚决反对任何威胁外交人员安全的行为，要求开展全面调查，避免类似事件再次发生。一段时间以来，约旦河西岸的形势持续紧张，中方敦促有关方，特别是以色列，不要采取任何进一步激化矛盾的举动。
The diplomats, who included officials from the EU, UK, China, Russia and several other nations, were part of a coordinated visit to assess the humanitarian situation. Israel said troops fired warning shots after the group deviated from a pre-agreed route, though diplomats dispute this, saying no clear warning was issued. Meanwhile, no one was hurt. Global reaction has been very swift, with European powers including France, Germany and the UK have summoned Israeli ambassadors and demanded explanations. Canada called the incident totally unacceptable, and countries like Ireland, Turkey and Egypt accuse Israel of violating diplomatic norms and international law. Many cited the Vienna Convention, which guarantees the safety of diplomatic personnel. Norway, Portugal and Mexico emphasised that firing near clearly marked diplomatic convoys is a grave breach of said treaty. Palestinian Authority called the act a heinous crime and said the diplomats were there to witness the aftermath of Israeli military operations in Jenin. Leaders around the world are now calling for a thorough investigation and accountability, warning that any harm to diplomats undermines international order. We stay